Which is when Dylan's leader told him to back off, not once but twice, which I never even noticed because Dylan wasn't very good at it, I guess. It's when you like a girl, right? When we got back to the States, Dylan asked me if we could talk, and while we were sleep deprived and trying to adjust to the time difference, we both shared about how we liked each other. A few weeks later, we met in San Francisco and had our first date, where at the beginning he shared that we should take it slow and get to know each other while being stateside, and by the end of the night, he was asking me to be my boyfriend. I feel like that day was just a good metaphor for our relationship. The intentions were always to go slow and take our time, but when you know, you know. And now, here we are, getting married. After being in a relationship for a year and a half, I wouldn't have it any other way. And here we are, you're right. And today, you both are standing before God in this community of friends and family, and you're committing your lives together. You're embarking on this journey together. You're making a lifetime commitment to one another that will stand not only in the springtime season of life, but through the dark winters as well. Now, one other thing I asked Annie and Dylan to do is to send me 5 things they admire about the other. And once again, their personalities came out. Dylan sent a few lines and Annie sent paragraphs, which I won't read all of her paragraphs, but they don't know what I'm about to say. So I told them to secretly do it. So here's the first time we're all hearing this together. So Dylan says to Annie about Annie, I admire and love her passionate love for God and putting him above all else, even me. I love, number 2, her sense of adventure and wanting to explore and see and do new things. Third, I love and admire her patience and being able to push against me, even when I'm a beep. He said butthead, just for the record. But number 4, thoughtfulness to everyone around her, constant thoughtfulness. Number 5, I love how she's creative and artistic, either painting or drawing or photography, and she has this great artistic eye. And I cut him off at 5, right? That's all he could do. But 5 wonderful things about Annie. And now, Annie, to Dylan, she says, I love that Dylan is a rock. Not in the cold, hard sense of it, but in the way he never wavers. Just in case anyone was wondering. When he sets in his mind to something, he does it. There's no hesitation, no procrastination. He's all in. I see it in the way he works, but I also see it in the way he loves, supports, and cares for me. Number 2, I love that he's a, wait for it, nerd. Annie, I said compliments here, but she did mean compliment. One of the first things we bonded in India was talking about Netflix documentaries and all the ones we both watched and all the ones he recommended I should see. I'm a nerd too, and so finding someone that would want to watch a 2-hour film about meat industry or a cult from the 90s or about hiking the John Muir Trail, well, that just gets me excited because I get to love what I love with him, and he loves it just as much as me. Number 3, he's not afraid of what people think. It has its moments of being a downside, but honestly, it's one of my favorite things about him because it's the opposite of me sometimes. Because he doesn't care, he's not afraid to be a goof in public and say what he needs to be said. The best example of this is that as we were traveling down south to San Diego, I had to stop, this is a great story, at a bathroom where you have to ask for the key. The guy working at the gas station was being kind of gross to me, and I just ignored it, and I just got in the car as fast as I could. When I told Dylan, he turned the car around and faced the guy and made a serious eye contact and honked his horn so loudly. He doesn't care what people think. He just cares what's right and good and isn't afraid to stand up for it. There it is. And number 4 leads her to this, his high moral standards. And not in the snooty, I'm better than you kind of morality, but in the sense that he sticks to his guns about what is right and wrong. He takes a stand, he has deep convictions. I see this in the way he lives his life, how he's fought to keep us holy as a couple, and in the many arguments where I try to break the rules that eventually lead me to admitting, okay, you're right. There's a lot of that in marriage. Apologies, at least a good marriage, right? Okay, you're right, on both sides. Lastly, I love his adventurous spirit. It's what brought us together in India, and it's what has brought so much life and joy in our relationship. In India, we both had our cameras in the first few weeks. We had made a couple trips out of our hostel to walk the streets and take pictures, which is kind of sketchy in some of the areas around us. One of these trips, the sun was setting, and for once you could actually see it rather than the sun disappearing. It was lighting up the entire sky, and so I turned to Dylan and said, man, it would be cool to get to the top of that get to the top of one of those buildings and get a picture of this. Then he turns to me and says, okay, let's do it. And so we got into this apartment